Right, welcome again to another video from MD Modelworks. I'm Mark Davey. This is in association with Alclad 2. We have all the paints for this kit. So what we're going to do a full build in my own special way of warts and all, so if it goes wrong you'll see it, and how I put things right if I have to put them right. So without further ado, we'll have a look at the sheet on the aircraft we're going to build. So the kit is lovely. I had viewed it up last night, really liked what I saw, and this is the variant or version we're going to do. So it's the McDonnell Douglas Phantom FG1. It's number 892 Naval Air Squadron, HMS Ark Royal, 1974 to 1975. A young man who I grew up with served on this. Mind you, it's long before his time. I know he loved the Ark Royal, so this is an iconic build for me as well. So let's get on with it and see what we can do and get started and see how she turns out. Okay, so we've decided what scheme we're going to do it in, and the next part is to decide whether you're going to have it in a takeoff position, powered down with the radar out. There are quite a few sort of interesting parts to do with this, but what I've decided to do is to do it in a completely powered down state. So what I've done, I've removed quite a few parts from the sprue. I'm going to show you how I do it for getting ready to spray everything. I've cleaned up most of the parts, just a few little bits to do. I've got the rear gear doors ready and everything else. So first thing to do, we've decided we're going to do it in a powered down state. So we're looking at the instructions and just checking everything. Excuse me, we use the same leg that we would use as we're, excuse me, in a takeoff position, but because it's powered down we're going to have to remove this part. Now I'm just checking exactly where we need to take it off, and what I'm going to do is cut it flush across and just checking everything, making sure that's correct. And we also have to take off this part here, so I'll just be a little bit careful what we're doing and just snick it off just like so. Right, so we've got our other piece here. I'm just going to offer it up and see how it's going to go on there. And still a few bits we've got to take off, trim and what have you. Just making sure we've got everything exactly how it should be. So we'll just sand that part down, take it off like so, offer it up. It actually needs to come a lot shorter than that, looking at that. So according to that bit, we need to take it off to there. So you better measure once, measure twice, cut once. I've gone a little bit around the houses. All we're going to do is just get that down a little bit so that's nice and flat. Then we can offer the part up, see what fit we've got. Not too bad. A little bit more. Just so we get our fit correct. That's it. That's not bad at all. Just making sure. With this part you want a nice flush fit, otherwise she's going to look odd. And that's not bad. In fact, I'm quite happy with that. I know I'm taking a little while, but this is quite an important part. So the first one we're going to do is snip that off the bottom. I'll show you a little trick that I do. I like doing it anyway. We'll see what happens, but I'm just gonna. There's a little bit of seam in the bottom there that's stopping it, giving it a nice tight clean fit, and a little bit at the top. Whip those off that, make sure there's nothing on the back of that. No. It's a little bit of an odd fit at the top. So we're just being a bit pedantic about this because front leg is very important. We want to make sure that's a good fit. There we go. That's spot on. Right, I'll bring you down just that little bit so you can see a little bit more where we're going. I'll change this part so just so that you can see, I know that you can see what I'm doing. Gonna get that. Gonna get our bottle of Tamiya extra thin. I'm just gonna put a little piece, a little bit of glue onto that side. Then I'm going to lay this piece on, and that has gone on very, very nice. Now I will sand that down a little bit later on, but I'm happy with that. So the reason I leave a piece of sprue on here is for this buddy. Put that on there, ideal, ready for spraying now. So that'll work out nicely, hopefully. So I'll put that to one side, ready to spray. We cleaned up the other parts. Just taking a little bits of seam off them. There is a small seam line run through the centre of everything. Again, peg on the bottom for spraying. We then come to our seat. We'll go back to where we should do. So our seat has all been cleaned up, the base of the seat, and all we're going to do, now these are plant name tags, if you like. They cost about £1.100 from your local garden centre. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to sit that on. And that again gives me the ability to spray without getting airbrush paint everywhere. So just checking my instructions because we've got headrests to go on first. Now I'm looking to see if I can put the headrest on like so. That goes through just like that, and have the seat pad in later, which you can do, which is nice. Okay, so we've got a little bit of clean up at the top there, so I need a drill bit. There's a seam there, so we'll get rid of that like so. A slight bit of flash on a small part, it's not a problem. Just to take that off, just like so. And the other one, which isn't quite as bad, but we'll just drill it just to make sure it's clean. And we'll take that little tiny bit of flash away. There you go, sorted. Okay, so we've got our two seats, we've got our two headrests. We can now glue those together, because we know after checking that the seat pads are going to go in without any issues. And then we place it on our name tags, ready for spraying, just like that. So the same with this, looks good. There's a little tiny bit of flash just on this one. Being careful the parts of the headrest. Again, a little tiny bit of glue. It's not one of those jobs you want to come to with a full bottle of TET. You want a used bottle of TET, tomorrow extra thin, which then allows, well, then you don't put too much glue everywhere, which has always been a problem of mine. So that's down, that's ready to be put there. Then we have the seat pads. They are all cleaned up because I did them. The ejector handle at the bottom could do with drilling out, so just trick that out there, that's nice. And then the seat pad can go, put the seat pad like that, so it just sits there, and anything we don't paint, it'll come through then. That looks good. So again, we'll just put that on there gently. The white tack will hold it. We only use a really low air pressure. So that's now ready for painting. Now, there are two ways of doing this. I'm going to check, once I've got these together, to see what we're going to be able to see on the inside of those intakes. And to be honest, they're not worth worrying about. They are absolutely sweet as a nut, to be honest. Looking down those intakes, I don't know if you're able to see that on the camera. There you go. You might be able to see, maybe not. The join is perfect because it's right where it needs to be, so there's no issues with putting our trunking together. Let that line it up perfectly, let that glue. That's for a little while later. Then again, we're coming in with the other one. I have cleaned these all up already, so shouldn't be any issues. Again, sweet as a nut with the join. A little bit of glue. Just place the glue on with tomorrow extra thin. You're using the capillary action to go right round the join, just like that. And all you do is just give them a wriggle, and because the glue melts the plastic rather than just butt joints, you get a nice finish to it, and they look super. So they can sit and dry for a little while. Then we've got part of our cockpit. We've got the centre bulkhead with our instrument panel for the rear, or the Rio I should say. Now we're looking at our instructions to see what it does, and it's literally, it should just fit over there and play in place. Now we've got a couple of sink marks that's stopping it fitting properly, so they're out of the way. So what we're going to do is make sure that they're covered. We don't need to fill these ones, rub them out. This is purely just so that the part fits. You'll never see these once the kit is actually built. So we're just taking all the bits off the flash that's left, and then we'll check our fit again. It's a lot better. So that's nice. So all we're going to do is get our tap across the top, a couple of runs down along the edges. Our part instrument panel then comes in, fits snugly, and we can leave that to dry. Some nice detail on the top and riveting in there as well, so that's going to look lovely with a wash. Right, we'll let that dry for a moment or two. Now, other parts I've got here, there's the front bulkhead. I'll leave those for a moment. We've got our cockpit tub, we've cleaned her up and she's ready to go. Now, I'm just looking at everything here just to work everything out. Remember, this is a brand new kit to everybody, including me. Never built up, so I'm just looking to see how we go. Right. Now it does go that direction, which is a bit odd, but hey ho. The fit is good and looks really nice, so I'm going to leave that on there. Yeah, that's going to be hidden up, but there is a little bit of flash on our sink mark or our ejection pin mark, so we'll get rid of that and we'll glue that there. So we'll put a little bit in the location tab, hold it on. Oop. Didn't give it long enough. Right, because that's also part of your wheel well. So we're just going to drop a little bit of glue in the sides. Oop, there, slippery this stuff, and that should just about hold that. Now I'm looking at the bottom here. It's the first time I've really, as you do a review even, you don't look at all the places. Now this is going to be part of the wheel well. Okay, so we've got 1, 2 bad sink marks there. So what we're going to do, going to get a fine sand and sponge. That one's nice up there actually, it's not too bad as flush. And we're going to take them out. And that one, not the easiest thing to do, but hey ho, it's a lot easier than later on if you do mess it up. So that's all I'm going to do for now. My advice, if you build it, don't put this bit on first. Take that off. There's another one there. I'm just going to get rid of that just in case. That's fairly flush, so that's good. That's nice now. So that's that bit. We have our control stick, which we're going to put into its position, because we can always detail that up a little later, like so. Checking on which way it goes, and that just slides it. Now that's a nice fit. That's not one of your fiddly fits that you normally get with control sticks, so that's very, very nice. Very impressed with that idea. This part will eventually, I think, go in. Nope, completely messed that up. Just need to suss out how that goes in there. Oh, it goes that way. Okay. So that actually slides down to there. That doesn't quite go how I want it. It needs to go into that bit, that's it. So it sits at that angle. Even then that's a little bit, there's a little gap there. But that's fine, that sits there nicely. So we're checking everything else because there's decals to go on there, and if we're going to be able to get the decals on, if we glue it, and the answer is yes. Because this, all this part is painted gold grey. So we can paint that all in one hit. Still not quite happy with that. Just gonna thin those sides just a hair. See if it slides in a bit better, which it does. And take just, there's a little bit of seam at the bottom which is stopping it from fitting nice and flush. And that's a lot better. That's just exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so back in with our extra thin, little smear to help it. In we go with our part. A little bit of glue on both sides, across from the instrument panel. There you go, that's nice. Right, we have to find our main instrument panel for the front, which is this piece. Right, so we'll have that off the sprue, like so, just like that. Clean it up a bit. Doesn't need a great deal of work on any of this. It's just how thorough you want to be. To be honest, that's looking good. Now this bit is black, as is the front of the combing. But we'll check for our fit. So it goes in perfectly well like that. So that's nice. Okay, so we'll we want that separate. And that has got a lovely big bit of flash on that sink mark at the back, so we'll take that off. I don't know what's going to be seen yet or anything. So we just take that off just like that. So that should fit there nicely now. And have a look. Great. Now this piece, because it's a completely different colour, it will be black. A little bit of white tack, needs to blue tack. Just going to put that in and go to the back of the section like that, and that will hold that in place. We can now spray that without getting a problem anywhere. Right, so that bit's ready. Now we have smaller parts that I've removed, and all we're going to do is just clean them up off the sprue. It's not much to do. Get a clamp that on, ready for spraying. We've got doors here, just need cleaning up a little bit. These are gear doors. While I've got the black primer out, I'll prime as much as I possibly can in one hit, rather than coming back in, having to change the paint constantly. Just like that. Get them clean. Again, that's a clamp, like so. We've got the rear gear, literally just a couple of swipes with a stick, a peg, Whoop, there. There you go, warts and all, dropping it. And all we're going to do, put the peg on, put that ready to paint. Same with this one. That's fine. My pegs have seen better days after investing in some new ones. These have been used a lot over the years. Right, that one's in, ready to go. Right, the main gear doors. First real letdown from Airfix. It's not a big job. What we're going to do, we've got, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera very well. Hopefully, you better see that they have sink marks in them, which is a shame. So, what we're going to do, just gently take the sink marks out. It's not a big issue to do that. So, it's just straight across. Soon come out. They're very, very shallow. I shouldn't complain about them, but with everything that Airfix is doing right, they still do the basics wrong. And I'm a big Airfix fan. I'm not knocking Airfix at all. I love Airfix stuff. There's a little bit of a mark there. Lovely. Another peg. Like so. Got the rest of the doors there, they're all just need a quick swipe. Lovely. And another piece we have, which is the intake fans. Now these go on the intakes just like that. So what we're going to do, we will be able to see those down the trunking. So what we're going to do, we're going to have those. We're going to get another one of our garden tags, and we're going to lay those over, and we're going to metallise those with Alclad in a few moments. I've already done the wheels. I like to get the wheels out of the way. They're a bugbear of mine. So I get the wheels done, and they're all ready. They're on cocktail sticks to sit into what you put flowers in. I forgot what the name of the thing is called. They go in there and they'll stand in there. So we'll do the black now and then the white, because we've got to do all this together. So basically we're just going to have a quick clean up, get rid of the dust, and then we'll come in with the airbrush, do some priming, we'll get the top coats on, then we'll do some weathering of the cockpit, not much, and we'll go from there. Right, so here we are back again. I've also removed the two fuselage halves, simply because we have to paint the inside, and again it saves time when you're spraying. So I've got those ready. What else have I done? I've also took out the rear sections, which are going to be put in to here for the horizontal tail planes or horizontal fins, whatever you want to call them, to go on, ready for when we're doing it. But because we're priming, we might as well prime everything up in one hit. So these will be primed black, and then metallizer put over the top, and metallics, so that'll be fine. So that's okay. So what we're ready to do, I've got my airbrush, I've got an Iwata HPAH, we've got the air pressure set at about 8 to 10 psi, which is nice. Just turn it down a slip, that's better. First thing we're going to do is come in with Alclad Alt 309 black primer and microfiller. Now I'd always recommend people using pipettes with all Alclad. It is thin, it's not like Tamaya, which is like syrup. It's already thinned out for you to put straight into the airbrush. Now, as you can see with this airbrush, it's all we got here. That's our paint well, if you like. So we're not going to use much paint here at all. So I'm going to use pipette, take a small amount and put just enough to begin with into our paint well. And I've just spilt that, believe it or not. Put it back. Right, so that's there. Clean it off the desk. See, everything happens to me as well. And what we're going to do with our water airbrush is just far too heavy there. See, it happens to us all. I think what I've done, I've cleaned it. Not put enough in there. That's better. So we're all good. So we've got good airflow, good paint. There we go. That's it. That's doing nicely now. So all we're going to do is clean that up. I put a little bit too much paint in the well. All we're going to do now is just lay some primer down into the well in the cockpit area of our Phantom, just like so. So that's down and nice. Now there's nothing else going to be seen in there, but just in case, I'm not sure on how we're going to, this all fits together, so I'm going to paint that whole area. Same on this one. Now I'm going to I've said it in every one of my videos so far, but I'm going to reiterate it. What priming does, it gives you a good place to start with your paint, so that you know what's going in and going down on it. It also allows you to see what your top coat's going to look like, just to make sure that you're all happy with everything. Just being a little bit gentle with this at the moment, like so. Same on the other one. So that's the first part of the spats. Get your second part out. Work out which is inside and which is outside. It's very difficult to tell on this. In fact, I'm going to have to go back to the instructions just to have a quick shufty. Now later on in the instructions. I don't particularly want to get it wrong at a later time. So, okay, so that's the internal. So you've got rivet detail on these, so that is your internal part. So we can spray those, just like so. So they're ready. We've got our intake fans, and we're just putting a nice prime coat down on that. We're using them with metallics. I've always found black is your best bet. It doesn't have to be gloss based unless you're doing a fantastically new shiny aircraft like a Mustang and you want it polished finish. So I use a matte black to do this. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the wheels, and again just making sure you cover the part, back and front, like so. Move that out of the way so I don't tip it over. Again, a front wheel. That's all we need to do. Like so. And again. You can be too. You're putting such a thin coat of paint on, it'll never show. So you haven't got to be too specific with it. Just getting that in. That's just like that. We've got loads of parts to paint. So we've got our horizontal stabilizer joining area. So we're getting that done in our black, ready for metal. Doesn't take much, just like that. That can sit and dry for a while. We've got our pads and our seats. Now I like to put black primer on the pads as well. It just helps when you're painting them. They'll be done in a nice khaki green. So I'm just putting small amounts of paint on. And again, on the seat itself, we'll dry brush these as well, just to help them out. And obviously we'll paint our ejection hoops, ejection handle hoops. That's that one. They are fairly detailed for the scale. I mean, normally I go down the aftermarket route of ejection seats. Because I want to build this one out of the box, just to see how she goes, we'll do it like this. Straight in. Is that done? A small amount of paint. Okay. Like so. Move that out of the way. Right. We have, these are for the rear undercarriage. Again, spraying them up. We will come over these with mil-spec white shortly, and then we'll gloss them up as they were gloss on the original aircraft. Right, we've got our front part for our undercarriage. Just getting that done. So we've got one of our undercarriage legs. I'm just looking at that, being a fussy blighter. Where's my razor blade? There's a little bit of flash I just saw. This is the front undercarriage. So just tidy it up just that little bit. That's it. Getting rid of any issues that we might have with it. Just looking again. Yep, that's good. So we come back with the primer. Now what priming in black under white does, you've heard me probably say it before, but I like to prime in black to give a shadowy effect. Now if you do that on undercarriage legs and armament, you'll find you'll just give out a little bit of added extra. Not much, just a little to go on with. So we're on one of the rear undercarriage legs now. That was the front undercarriage. We're just going to pick it out just gently, spraying it up so that she's nice and black, should we say. Right, looking at these are the sets of doors again, so I'm going to check exactly how they go. So this is the inside, although it doesn't really matter because these doors will be painted white on both sides, but we'll do them slightly separately. Right, and our last piece, I think, oh no, there's a couple more. All we're doing again is spraying it up nicely, priming it up. You see any defects with the primer, which is one of the main reasons. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is under the bench. Right, anybody want a prostate exam? Rubber glove. The reason being is I'm going to have to hold this part like so. So all we're going to do, I'm going to do the edges to the top, come into the back, turn and round, getting everything where there might be needed, getting in all the angles that I can. I hope you can see that there. I haven't been checking. Spraying it all up. Nearly there. Coming back into this angle. So you need to check everywhere you paint. A little bit more paint. Messed that one up. Clean it off the brush. Go at it again. As I said, you'll see why I spray black in a little while, hopefully. Just looking again. If you're like me, you'll miss something. So here we go. So that's your pit, nice and black. Now we have these parts. Now what we're going to do now is spray them with primer right the way through. So they're clear like that. Now we know our white line comes up to there. I'm not being too fussy. Just laying a bit of primer in, just to help the white bed down when we do it. Just like that. Same with this one. Straight to the edge. As I say, we're just, don't matter how much you prime, really, providing you don't put it on overly thick, because if you do it too thick it will show through. Back from this end, remember you are blowing it with two, so please wear a mask if you're using alkali or any paints. I don't, because I'm talking to you, but normally if I was doing it without the camera I would be. Like that. So that's our bits primed. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to empty the airbrush, clean that up, and when I come back we'll do some more.